And good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is Tim Gillette, and I'm here as your host. This is the Tim Gillette Show, but it's not about me. It's about the coolest people on the planet. I love doing a show like this because I get to find out about other people. And rather than doing these remember in networking, we did one-on-ones and we sat down and we talked about each other and everything. And I just do the same thing, but I do that on camera so that I can introduce you to some of the people I'm meeting. Today's guest, I'm going to tell you, I had a brief conversation with him just before we went live. Other than that, all right, he found my stuff. He applied just like you can to come on. And he's got a great story and a great personality. So I'm really looking forward to getting to know Nik. All right. I know it's like the middle of the night or something where he's at. I don't know. Maybe he'll tell me it's the middle of the day and it's the middle of the night for me. I don't know. He'll confuse me. Let's see how good this guy really is because he looks like he's a boatload of fun. Mr. Nik, how are you?
Hey, Tim, how you going? G'day from down under in Australia.
Yeah, it's like the middle of the night there, isn't it?
Oh, mate, it's sort of early morning, it's like 4:30. Oh, well, I get up at 4:30, so it's just after that, but we're up in Queensland. There's no daylight saving. So, around about 4:30, the sun is just streaming in our window. It's like 7 o'clock probably or 8 o'clock where you are. So, but, we all go to bed around, 7 or 8 o'clock at night because it gets dark. So it almost feels like the dark ages.
Well, I mean, yeah, I go to bed at like midnight and I get up at like 8 a.m. Like, you were alive and kicking during the hours I'm still asleep.
That's exactly right. Well, in fact, if we do anything in the US, we've got to get up. Mm-hmm. Oh, actually, we've got to get up before we go to bed to get into your time zone.
I'm curious though, Nik, do you have a lot of connections then over here in the States?
Oh, I've got a few. Yeah. Most of my business, I have to say, is down under. But look, we've got a good group of clients up in the US as well too. So I just love it over there. I haven't been able to travel there for how long now? Probably 5 years. So certainly the last 2 years we haven't been able to travel. Even between our states. But I just can't wait till it all just opens up again and I can get back to the States.
Yeah. I've started to ignore what's supposed to be open anymore. After I did a car ride during the middle of COVID, did a car ride across California, Arizona, New Mexico, and into Texas. And the only place you would ever know that there was something going on called a pandemic was the big cities. I went into this little town. If you remember the song from the Eagles, Winslow, Arizona. I went into Winslow, Arizona. It was like the world did not exist out there. Everything was still happening the way it's supposed to. Yeah.
Well, it's a bit like Queensland. I live in Queensland, sunny Queensland, on the beaches. And, you go down to the beaches and it's like, mate, it's a whole different world. So, everything else doesn't exist outside here.
Well, that's it. I mean, that's the greatest thing in the world is to actually have your world. The rest of the world doesn't matter, just my world.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what? I've been working from home for, must be going on 12 years, 13 years. I live up a mountain. So I live on the coast by the beaches, but I live up the mountain. So we look at the beaches. And so, it's just the most amazing part of the country to work from. But the great thing about it is that if I want to go down to the beach, I just go and stand up on my balcony and I can see a whole line of beaches from Coolangatta, which is down in the south, all the way up to almost Brisbane, which is the main city up here in Queensland. Yeah. And the funny thing is that at some points it's raining on some of the beaches. Other ones, it's brilliant sunshine. You can see the rain clouds just moving across. So you watch the direction, and that's how we decide which beach we're going to.
Oh wow. That's neat. All right. When I first started my business 12 years ago, my wife's father had a house on a lake, and the balcony off our bedroom was bigger than our bedroom.
Wow.
And it's like the same thing. I would walk out there and I could see almost the whole lake out from the second floor. You know what I mean? It was really cool to be able to do that. And I liked it. The problem the thing I didn't like about it is the kids always wanted to use our deck. And I'm like, no, that's not our bedroom. That's ours.
That's party time.
And it was neat. My wife always has liked to live on water. We sold that because my father-in-law passed away, and like we had all the kids who were in their 20s living with us, and we're like, wait a minute, we travel, we come home on Friday, we got to clean up after y'all. No. We're not doing this. We're getting a 1-bedroom condo. Y'all got to get your own place now.
Well, my parents did one better when I was a young fella. We lived in New Zealand. We live in Australia now. And how old was I? I was about 18, 19 at the time, living at home as you do as a bloke. So thinking, this is great. I'm going to be here till I'm 32, 33. Why would you move out and go somewhere else and have to clean up after yourself and do your own washing and pay for all that sort of stuff? And they came home one day and said, we're moving to Australia. And I said, what about me? Well, I guess you better go and find your own place. So that was my introduction to go out and find my own place. They went to Australia. I was in New Zealand. I had to go flatten.
Oh, man. And it's, wait a minute. How often do we see parents nowadays? They're like, I don't want to throw poor Johnny out. And, well, he's 45 years old. Maybe it's time for him to learn how to, cook his own dinner. Yeah.
Well, if they didn't do that to me, I'd probably still be at home today, and I'm 55.
Yeah. Now, how many times after you left when you were a kid did you go back to stay?
Oh, what did I do? For me, it was only once, I think. I don't think I was allowed back. Well, the problem is they're in another country now, so it was a significant issue for me to go and travel. And being a poor young guy, so not much money there. Getting money together for an air ticket, that just wasn't going to happen. So I reckon that was a really good strategy for them. In fact, as my kids are now, sort of 23, 20, 18, just talking to my partner thinking, you know what? I think now's the time to go to some other country and then they can move out and go and look after themselves.
So no, I lived I grew up in the Philadelphia area of Pennsylvania, and the Poconos, the eastern side of Pennsylvania in the States. And when I was 20, I moved to New England states. And then the job that I had, everything I had up there fell through like in a matter of 3 months. Crash. And I'm like, I got to go somewhere. Packed everything up, moved back to Pennsylvania and stayed at my parents' house. Only I came back with a wife and kid. And then, eventually we moved out, got a place. And then just before I left and moved to Texas, I stayed 3 days at my parents' place after I sold my house, before I was getting ready to get my car and drive out here. But my dad said to me, he said, that's the hardest thing. He says, if you keep a big house, the kids can always come back home.
That's right. So the lesson there is go and get a condo like you have.
Yeah. So now our kids have, the oldest actually bought his first house last year during the pandemic. Right. And right now real estate is just a bizarre thing in the States right now. He had to pay like thousands over asking just to win the bid. And but he's got his first house. He's taking on responsibility, and you know what I mean. He's renting to his brother, so his brother can stay there, but his brother's got to pay rent. So I love it. They're learning. Yeah, they're learning. Yeah. So, well, Nick, what kind of business do you have? All right, you know what I mean. I want to get into talking about your business and share what you do to help people.
Oh, my business. I have a lot of fun.
Wait, I have a business? Oh no.
It's sort of a hobby, really, isn't it? What would you call me? You call me a digital transformation coach for small business. Mm-hmm. So essentially what it is, I've spent, how long now? I was just talking about it the other day. I've spent 32 years online. Well, not quite online, but 32 years, coding, building websites, and being online. And the first time I ever touched a computer was 1979. No, there's a heap of people that weren't born back then. But 1979, it was a little Sinclair ZX86. It was called. It was, it actually wasn't that big. It was about the size of today's laptops, mm-hmm. and had these, tactile keys, a keyboard that was flat. And you sort of pressed on. It's almost like a touch screen, but not quite a touch screen. And to do your coding, it was just one line. The screen was just one line. So you'd write one line of code and then it'd disappear and you got to write your next line. And but that was back in 1979.
Wow.
So these days, fortunately, we've got devices that are about this big, which is slightly smaller. And the really interesting thing is that I can almost build a website on an iPhone. So I've got a web development company, but most of my work is all involved in teaching people to get over their fear of online apps and tools and the whole online world, and particularly seeing small business and entrepreneurs who have started up a business. And there's lots of them during the pandemic, because I don't know what it's like over your way, but over here we've had all these lockdowns, so people couldn't go to work and they're at home. Some of them lost their jobs. And some of them are, looking for side hustles and different things to do as well too. So for us, during this time, it's been a heap of fun just teaching people how to get online, all the cool online apps and tools. And I run a weekly webinar every Tuesday night over here in Australia. And we have a guest on every single week, and that's all about pure content, just teaching people what they can do, how they can use tools, and actually have a life when they run a business. So and what I find is, all these people tell me that they get into business to make all this money and have all this free time. But what do? They spend all of their time from their waking hours through to midnight, 1 o'clock, working just so they can have all this freedom. But and they're making no money along the way. So it just doesn't work out. So we're trying to sort of just change that equation.
Yeah, I had to learn that. I had to learn the hard way on that, because well, first of all, I've always built businesses I loved doing, but my biggest thing was exactly that. I wanted control of my time. I want to, and it's not that like I want to control my time because I wanted to travel to the coasts of the world. No, I just wanted control of my time. I never defined it past that. So I was stuck in that spot, like you said. And once I got control of my time, I'm like, okay, well, what do I do with all this money I'm making?
Yeah.
It's like, I have this money. What do I do with it? I can't spend it. And I made bad mistakes along. I mean, one of my last business before I did online marketing was car washes. And I was around the car industry all the time. So I thought, well, I'm a car guy. I got to have a car. And I remember buying this stupid freaking Porsche because everybody had a car, right? I couldn't fit in the damn thing. I'm 6'2". I had to bend over 3 times to fit in that darn thing. I owned it for less than 6 months, and everybody's like, "Well, why'd you get it?" Because everybody told me I had to have a car.
Yeah, there are some people that fit into sports cars and some that don't. Some that should have SUVs.
Yeah. Well, now I drive an SUV, but like there was a section of my life from 2005 to 2019 that mostly 2017 I owned only a motorcycle. I didn't own a car, so I rode motorcycles everywhere.
6 foot on a motorcycle is good because you got plenty of space to go.
Yeah. And you know what I mean? It was great learning to enjoy my time. So then I learned to ride motorcycle to my speaking gigs, which was a great way to do it. But like that, everything you do, you know what I mean? It's not learning to balance. Sooner or later, I burned myself out on it. How often are you getting clients who are going, well, now I want to do this hobby, and then they burn themselves out on the hobby?
The biggest thing is that people think their business is about what they're passionate about and interested in. And the problem with entrepreneurs and people that go into business is that what they're interested in this week, it's something else next week, and then it's something else next week. And so they've got all of these unfinished projects that they can't dedicate 100% of their time to. And so they end up with 6 or 7 or 8 different things that they're trying to focus on, and none of them get finished. So really, what I do with those people is to say, well, which is the one that you are most interested in, and has got the best opportunity to earn some money for you, make some money for you. So let's just concentrate on that. We're not going to focus on the others. We're just going to put them aside. We're not going to forget them. Put them aside. And you can focus on that until you've finished it. So get it to 100% and actually finish it, because you never get paid until you finish things. People never pay for things until they've got the end product. And so if they do that and finish it, and then come along and say, well, let's focus on the next one. Which is the next one that you're going to focus on? So they'll focus on that, and let's get that one to the finishing line. And what happens is that rather than having, say, 6 projects that are sitting there unfinished and tinkering around on each of them, when you start at one and finish it and get it to the point where it's making money, it's doing what it should be, and then focus on the other, in less time you'll have 6 finished projects than you would if you're working on all of them all at once.
Oh, wow.
And for some that's a real sort of revelation, and it's almost like a change of mindset, particularly when you've got creative brains like mine. That was a process I had to learn, because I've got such a creative brain. It's like thinking, oh, that's a great idea. Let's go and do that there. Or let's go and run a workshop on something else. And then, next week someone says, oh, you're really good at the SEO sort of stuff. Why don't you do something around that? But, the real trick is I've heard people say, is to say no. But I don't think it's no. I think it's just not now. This is where we are now. I'm going to say not now. We're going to park that aside. We'll come back to it later on.
Yeah. It's interesting you say that, because I'm great at writing outlines for my programs. I think I have 20 some odd outlines over here. And I want to tell you how the one of them that I learned to finish, though it's great that I actually got it finished, was in 2016. I had this Kickstart Your Blog program outlined for basically how to set up WordPress in 21 days if you do it just one day at a time, right? Mm-hmm. Had it listed. And forever, just, I'm going to get around to it someday. I'm at an event, and I want to say it was like October of 2016. And this lady says, well, you have to give, when you're done speaking, you have to give like an offer, something that's so ridiculous, people have to take you up on it. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to do this Kickstart Your Blog class. I'm going to start it on January 1st, and we're going to start the new year off by creating your website for 21 straight days and a 10-minute class each day. And I'll tell you what, I offered you guys for $20. There were 43 people in the room. 39 of them took me up on it. So I got that program created because I had people paid me for it. Now I have to go do it because I got money. Yep. For it. It's like...
And you know what? The best way to do those programs is to do them live. Create the content as you go. Don't prepare it. When I say don't prepare it, don't
create
prepare
an outline and freelance your talk. Yeah, is what I do.
Just go and do it. Yeah.
And I just got done doing one that it was kind of the outline thing of what we're doing with my new Simple Easy Marketing, was the same concept. And I had I do a virtual event every month. It's like the first or second Saturday of every month. We've done it through 20 and 21. And this last one in October, I just had so much stuff going on. I couldn't book speakers for it. I couldn't get focused on it. So I said, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to do a special one. I'm going to do this outline on this Simple Easy Success program. And I just did six or seven. I think it's seven, because I originally had six, but I broke it into seven 20-minute segments. That was the whole event, but I got it recorded.
So now you've got a product.
Yeah, now I got another product to sell. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's funny how we have to learn to do that to get things finished. Like you said, it's unique how you do it to get people focused, because I have ones over here that, for instance, I'll pull this one out. I outlined this years ago. I've yet to do it. I always thought it would be a great book. It's called You Don't Need a Life Coach, How to Fix Your Own Life in 90 Days.
Oh, I love it.
How to fix you don't need. Well, it was really going to be you don't need a life coach. How to fix your own damn life in 90 days.
Yeah, yeah.
And like
I'd read that. So when are you going to have it done, Tim? Because I'd read that.
Probably if I sell a copy of it, I'll have it done in a weekend. But yeah.
How much is it? Have you got your payment link there?
Wait a minute. This could be a new program that we do as accountability across the pond. All right. You calling me up and go, so Tim, what's the next program for next month? And I tell you, and you go, okay. And you just go on my website and buy it. So now I have to create it because you bought it. And then you call me, I call you up, what are you doing? And you tell me, and you have to create it because I bought it. we just keep putting that $20 American money back and forth to get each other to finish the job.
That's how the economy works anyway, isn't it?
I might try that in my mastermind. I might make my mastermind members go, okay, so who's doing a project, and make everybody in the mastermind buy it. So now the person who's got to create it has to create it because they have 20 people who bought it.
They've got their first sale.
I know that. That may be a good idea, Nick. Chalk it up. Good idea with Nick.
Yeah. I think we're onto it.
Interesting. So, well, one of the things that you said there was you were doing like a webinar type format. Did you do the webinar formats before the pandemic, or was that something you started during the pandemic?
Oh, now that's really interesting. I did that before the pandemic, and they were physical inline, not online workshops. So they were, people would turn up to a venue, we'd have a guest speaker, we'd, talk about some cool online tools, and we'd get, between 40 to 60 people in the room every month. So I held it monthly. In fact, we then did, so that was on the Gold Coast in Australia, and we also did it up in Brisbane. So every fortnight we had the event running. Soon as the first lockdown hit here in Australia, I thought, well, what are we going to do? I thought, oh, we'll take it online. And I just made the snap decision. It was the dumbest decision I've ever made in my life to do it weekly. Little did I know how much work this was going to take. I thought, we'll just do it weekly because it's free. People don't have to pay. It's free. They can come along. Thought, we're just going to throw it out there weekly. I've got to find now 52 speakers a year as the guest speakers to come on. I mean, you'll know what that's like. Mm-hmm. And so I'm hitting up my my networks, my friends, my colleagues for speakers. But the interesting thing is that when we're running offline events, it was hard, and doing it once a month, it was harder to find speakers for that than it was for the online event, because the only pool that we had to pull from was like within 100-kilometer radius from where we were. But now we can pull speakers in from all over Australia. We get speakers from Australia, from New Zealand. Haven't had any from the US yet, but that might be the time.
Maybe that's another thing you and I need to exchange on is
courses and speakers.
Well, Nik. Exactly, Nik, is that's what I went to with the virtual right after, right as soon as the pandemic started, and I went to a monthly with 5 speakers every month. So you add that up, 5 times 12, I get like 80-some speakers I got to find a year. And then I went to my podcast. I was like immediately, I was like, I got to do something to keep myself busy. So we switched the way we were doing the podcast, and we created a new season with it. And the season 2 was I was going to interview 100 people in 30 days. I got to 85. All right. I'm going to tell you, I learned I'm never doing that again. But I built a system now that got me to put a system together like you went through. I don't even have to I basically put stuff out. I have guests all the time just applying, and the system walks them through it, and it's all set up, automated emails. And now I book 125 guests to interview a year and 80 speakers. So, but you got to have a system down to make that work. Have you created a system to make yours work, or are you just kind of still winging it?
No. Well, I think that's the real success. And I think when you do things that are just so way out there, like thinking you just haven't thought about the volume of work, you learn real quick. And those systems are really important. I've got 2 virtual assistants in the Philippines, and they virtually run all of my marketing for each of the events. So, Tuesday night, 8:30, our process starts again for the next week. So, Wednesday we're out marketing on Facebook. There's new banners, there's new graphics, there's new text and all that sort of thing. So, but they do all that, and we've got a system for that. So they just run through every day. They've got a system and process. We're using a piece of software called ClickUp, which is project management. So they can just sort of tick it all off. I'll get an email to know that, all of these things are on track. The marketing's happened. We've got speakers booked. And for me, it's turned out to be the easiest thing that I do in business, because all I have to do is turn up on Tuesday night, 6:00 Australian time, and I've got an hour and a half where I run the webinar. And in fact, I don't even have to spend that much time. Mine is only the first half hour. So I do the intro of the guest. I run through 5 online tools. So I'll spend part of the week is researching some of the latest online tools and apps that are available out there, and that's often people's favorite segment. But so I run that first half hour and then hand over to the guest speaker for an hour. So they've got their PowerPoint, or they've got their interactive whiteboard. So for me, it's the best thing, because I get a seminar that with an awesome specialist online that if I had no people turn up for it, I'd still run it anyway, because I learned so much out of the guest speakers that come along, and we've had some great collaborations that come out of it as well too. But the whole thing is just a machine. It's just a system. And if if I got sick and keeled over 1 week there, the system would still run until the point that I had to step in and run the show. But even if I couldn't do it, I could get someone else in to do it. And there's an agenda, there's a process and questions, and I'm sure someone could just step in and do it. I just don't want to let go of the reins because, that's the part that I really love.
Well, that's it. I mean, I run everything on this podcast because it is the one part of my business I love. And that's where you get in and find things you love and you have a purpose behind it so that I don't have to, I don't have a lot of focus onto it. It's very minimal that I have to do. And my interview style is, as you see, I don't have the questions written down. I have a conversation and that's it. And I think that, though, the people who are out there looking at online marketing stuff, I think they were getting sick of I'm asking Nik the same 10 questions the last podcast he was on. And they want to see authentic new content. Are you seeing that too?
Oh, absolutely. People want to be interested in sometimes the most fascinating things that come out are not from the scripted questions that you get the common answers that, they've already sent their answers in and then the questions are written around the answers or they've just answered the questions. It really comes out of those moments that people, have a memory or have a flash or, an idea pops into their head. And I think it's the unexpected that, people really get interested in. And I have a look at the podcast. I have a listen to the podcast that I have on in the car when I'm traveling. And the ones that really interest me are the interviews with people where it's unscripted. It really is a conversation. It's almost like, you're coming into someone's private conversation and, you shouldn't really be there, but you get to listen into it. Yeah. I think there's so much content out there and so much really good content that, these days people are looking for conversations. And particularly over here in Australia again, because, we've been in these lockdowns for forever. Yeah. And so who do you get to talk to? Well, your family, like your wife, your kids. And then after a while, they don't want to talk to you, or it's the same stuff, same arguments, same conversations. For me, it's, have you done the lawn yet? It's up to sort of neck level now. It's time to do the lawn, It's like, oh, we did it last week. Yeah. But having these other conversations you can come into, that's really what people are looking for, I think.
And it's interesting you talk about the conversations where, they want that it's real. Well, a couple of years ago, I was on Blab. Do you remember Blab? Were you on part of that when it was out? Yeah. I at that point in time, I was a blogger, and 2012, my coach twisted my arm to do an audio podcast, and I'm like, okay, I'll do it. The second I started doing Blab and coming on camera, I learned something. I don't know what you guys see so sexy about this. I don't get it, but they want to see that, and I'm like, oh well, my audience wants that. I guess I better go do it.
And they turn up to live stuff to see that.
Yeah.
So, when we're at live stuff, we don't stand behind a screen and talk.
Yeah.
So I think it's that connection, get to see someone, get to see their expressions. Like my partner, she does telephone sales. I think that is the hardest, worst job you could ever do, but she loves it.
I'd rather flip burgers at McDonald's than to do phone sales.
I know. And I did it. I sold timeshare for, it would have been 3 months on the phone. It was the worst ever job I've ever had because it's not that I don't like sales. I really enjoy sales, but not seeing anyone, it just makes it so difficult. But, there are people in there that just love that. They never want to meet people. They're I don't know whether they're sort of more introverted or whatever. I'm definitely an extrovert. But they're making sales of like $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, which they're getting on credit card over the phone on a 1 hour conversation. But, mate, that's not me. I have to sit in front of someone and shake their hand, have a coffee, have a conversation. That's my sort of style. So I think these these StreamYards or Zooms and those sort of things really start to fill that sort of gap. When you can't actually see people physically, at least you get to see the face and have an interaction. See people's eyes.
Yeah. So, the one thing that my wife and I, we learned to laugh on a lot of commercials, right? And there's one commercial now I do next Friday I'm doing a live event, the first one since before the pandemic. I'm doing a live event here in Dallas. And I'm coming out. All right, I know this. I'm telling my secret on the thing here. I'm coming out on stage with dressed up like this, my suit jacket on, and my pajama bottoms and my slippers. And I'm going to come out and go,
I thought of doing that. You've got that. You're going to do it before me.
I'm going to come out and I go, oh, wait, we're not doing that Zoom thing?
Well, the good thing is at least you're going to be turning up with pajama bottoms on. I don't sleep with anything on.
Yeah.
Just a shirt.
I thought about doing like shorts, like my swim trunks or something, but we'll see. All right. Like I got to do it something. My first speaking gig I did virtually. I did. I had a suit coat, stuff on, and I had my pajama bottoms on. And I have a picture of it just as like, hey, I can do this now. And I'm like, wait a minute. There might be something to this that I don't have to get all dressed up. I only have to dress up from the waist up now. Oh, yeah.
That's it. Well, that's how we are right now. Like, mate, in Australia, what do they call them? Thongs over here. What do you call them? Flip flops or something?
Flip flops. Yeah.
Yep. We just wear those, and so below the shirt, the shirt's just dressed up. Well, this shirt here. These are some of my signatures that I have on the show. Always got a colorful shirt. And I remember someone saying that you should wear a single color shirt when you're doing webinars and whatever, because otherwise it's too distracting. So what do? Just go and do the opposite. If they say that's what you do, go and do the opposite. And now when we do the weekly webinar, the shirts are the feature of it all.
Yeah. So no, I have my speaking outfit for years, Nick, was a dress shirt, jeans, which is what I wear, dress shirt and jeans, and cowboy boots.
Yep.
And I had for years, if you look at some of my old pictures, I had really long hair. And I got into this business because I used to clean Zig Ziglar's car. And Zig Ziglar told me, don't get a haircut. Don't just go be you and find your path. Yeah. And I loved doing that. The fact that I got there. So now it's like, this is like me wearing shirts. I wear this nice dress shirt and it's not that expensive, and blue jeans. I actually had a speaking gig where they said, well, you have to wear a suit. And I'm like, I don't wear a suit to speak. I don't wear a suit. I don't wear a tie. And I actually have it in my speaking contracts. And I walked into, you had to wear a suit pants because it was at a country club and it was a rule. You couldn't wear jeans. I actually had it on the speaking contract that I could wear jeans, and they missed that when I got there. They had to pay me and I couldn't come in to speak.
Oh, what?
Yeah. Because it's in my contract. Wait a minute. I have a friend here in Dallas that are here in America. He lives in Dallas sometimes, but he's in Orange County, California. He has a no shoes rule. So in other words, if you want him to wear shoes when he speaks, it's an extra $75 charge.
Nice.
Because he doesn't like to wear shoes. He wears flip-flops or you know what I mean, or thongs everywhere he goes. Yeah.
So could you really start your contract and start out naked, and then for each article of clothing they charge, you get another $75 for?
Yeah, this skinny body, they'd pay a fortune to make sure it was clothed, dude. I'm no Brad Pitt underneath this clothes. All right?
Yeah, well, let's have a look at it. No, we're going to cover you up. You're going to have 15 articles of clothing over that.
Yeah. So I know. I'll get another business idea from Nik Cree. We're just having way too much fun with this, Nick. I'm telling you.
We need to stop now, because otherwise we're going to have too many ideas, and this is just going to be way too successful.
We're going to have too many successful people coming out of watching a podcast with the two of us. Anyway. Well, let me ask you this. Have you gotten into doing any other podcast? Are you hosting your own stuff or just the webinar?
Well, I do have a podcast. Well, I've got a podcast sitting in the wings. I'm still working out. I'm stuck on one thing. But it's all right. Well, it's just a tech thing. We'll get it sorted out. But what I discovered was all of these weekly webinars that we do with all these guests, we're now cutting all those up and turning them into podcasts. So, you know, and how much work does it take me to do that? None, because I don't do it.
No, your assistants do it. Yeah.
They do it all. And so now we've got now almost a year's worth of episodes to go for the podcast. So my biggest concern about a podcast is that, I've got to turn up every week. And what happens if I miss a week? Well, there ain't no way I'm going to miss a week, because I've got a whole year's worth of content now just ready to go to schedule. But what I also discovered was that we've got 2 segments in our webinar. One of them is Cool Online Tools, which is the tools and apps that we do. And then we've got the guest speaker. So we've cut that up. So we've actually got 2 podcasts planned. Yeah. So both of those will come out at the end of the year. One on just Cool Online Tools, the other one on the speaker. So and that was the interesting thing that happened about going online, that all of a sudden, with this one piece of content, we've now got a load more pieces of content. Because some of the other things we do too is the PowerPoint presentations. Go and load those up on SlideShare. So SlideShare is a PowerPoint sharing platform.
Yep.
Or the Cool Online Tools, we cut all those up into snippets, and then we go and post each one of those each day on social media. So, and what that does is it just promotes the next show and just gets some interest in it. And people say to me, "Man, you are everywhere on social media. Where do you get all the time to do it?" And I say to them, "I'm only on once a week."
Yeah.
And they said, no, we see your stuff all over the place. I said, no, I'm on once a week. We've got a team and a system that gets us out there every single day in multiple places and multiple platforms. But I turn up on Tuesday and just do one live on Tuesday before the webinar.
Wow. Oh, well, that's it. I mean, I've always, that's the biggest thing I want to be known for is my coach to me. I want to be known for repurpose your content. Yeah. I learned this idea. Like, I used to write a blog post every week, do a live myself every week, a live with a guest. Now I just do 4 podcasts and this one here is interviewing people like you. I've got another one with me and another lady we did at noon today. She's a website designer and I'm a content, coach. So the 2 of us are a great pair. And then I have this third one that I do that we're starting in November because I like whiskeys and alcohols, and this girl does too. So we're doing an alcohol tasting and food pairing
nice.
podcast, right? And then my 4th one is I take my talks and I just put it out as me as a podcast. So it's like same thing. It's like I don't have to sit down and go, well, what's my content for this podcast? No, I just take it from places and interview people like you, and I've got content.
Well, and there's so many tools around that just make it so easy. Like one of my favorite ones is Otter. Have you come across Otter?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah. So, and this is another system we've got set up. So the webinar that we run on Tuesday, at the end of it, it automatically uploads to Otter. Otter transcribes it all. We get a Word document back of it all transcribed. My team go in and just cut out snippets, and there we've got some social media content and posts as well too. And being in the web development industry, one of the hardest things clients have to get their heads around is getting content for their website. And I say it's not that hard. No. You don't have to write like you were taught in at school. Probably just speak, just talk, and you can sort of sort out your content from that. And I think the best place to start is video, because you've got everything you can do.
Well, I mean, I'll give you this secret that I know it because I know the family and I knew Zig very well. Zig Ziglar never wrote a book.
Yeah, right.
Now, this is before the internet, before all the tools we got. He took his cassette player to the park with a microphone and talked into it, and his assistant typed it up. And we look at Zig going, man, he's a great author. He couldn't do this. So that's what he did. And so often we're going, well, what tool? What tool? How do I do it? I don't know how to do it. He didn't have these tools, and he created how many books and so legendary? The stuff's out there. You just got to be willing to go do it. I could put up Word document and talk and create it. That's how I create a newsletter every week. Yeah.
And how easy is it today? We've got, these devices here.
You speak right into these, yeah.
these iPhones or mobile phones, just talking to it as you go for a walk. Like, I don't get out and get enough exercise. So, but these are the things that, just go for a walk and have a talk. They're walkie-talkies.
They're walkie-talkie. That's right, man. Another thing from the 70s. Well, Nik, I'm having too much fun with you, man, but I got to make sure people actually connect with you, all right, and take this relationship to the next level. What's the best website that they can reach you at?
For me, the best website is smashgo.com. So smashgo.com.
Where'd you ever come up with Smash Go? I'm just curious.
Oh, well, because all the domain names that I wanted were taken.
Yeah.
So, but the webinar series that we run is Business Owners Smashing It Online, and that's too long for a domain.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And so we're just looking at smashing it down. I thought, Smash Co. That's gone, and it was just Smash Go. But the problem with that name is that people think that we're car wreckers, Smash and Go, or a burglary firm, or but Smash It Online.
So when I started my business, I was Rocker Life Coach, and it's because that was what was available, rockerlifecoach.com, and I couldn't even get my name, Tim Gillette. TimGillette.com was taken. Right. Wait till this is a funny story. You're gonna roll over after I get done telling you this, man. So I waited 3 years, and I had always had it in to GoDaddy so that I could get it if this Tim Gillette guy ever didn't renew. So finally, in 2013, Tim Gillette, the guy, did not renew, and I was able to get his website. And then I went through my records and found out who owned this TimGillette.com.
It was you.
I bought it in 2008 because someone said ownyourownName.com, but I never knew. I never had the records to get back to where I bought it from.
That is classic. That is too good.
So, of course, I own it now, and it's auto renewal, and because there's other ones anyway. But it's like, the dumbest thing happens with domain names. Now I own a ton of them around my business, but anyway, yeah. So, but well, Nik, it's been so much fun having you on here. But before you go, I've got my game I got to play with you, brother. I've got 7 envelopes. You get to pick 3, and I'm going to ask you the questions inside the envelope.
All righty. So just because I like odd numbers, I'm going to go 3, 5, and 7.
3, 5, 7. These ones.
Now, I hope these are not going to be all questions on US sports games that I know nothing about.
Oh, I had one of those happen yesterday. So here we go. Envelope number 3. Our first question is, when you're riding in the car, do you listen to music or podcast?
I am a podcast dude. Well, I have to say that most of the time I listen to podcasts. If I've had a particularly difficult day or a difficult session with someone, it is definitely high rocking music. So something like Van Halen or that sort of era there. But yeah, most of the time it's podcasts, and I listen to podcasts on double speed.
Oh wow!
2 times speed, and just so I can get through content a lot quicker. And people hop in the car with me, and I've got the podcast going, and I say, well, how can you listen to this? But I've been listening to a podcast for a double speed for like 3 years. Mm-hmm. And it just sounds like normal speech. And then when you slow it right down, it's like they're just going really slow.
Most people don't understand that they could train themselves to listen to things that fast. Most people don't know that. Yeah.
Yep.
So question number 2, and I don't know whether you're wearing these or you like to see someone wearing these, but high heels or boots?
Oh, high heels or boots. Oh, well, I don't wear boots. I'm not a boot sort of guy.
But do you wear heels?
I have been known to wear high heels in the past. So I'm going to go for high heels.
Okay. So I love it when I have a guy on there. Now, this system I do with the questions, some guys get the girls' questions, some girls get the guy questions. It's really hilarious. So question number 3 in this envelope is, at the movies, do you like to get popcorn or candy?
I'm a popcorn dude, except I don't buy it at the movies. We go and make our own and take it.
I got a big purse. We can sneak it in.
Yeah. And it's not because I'm cheap. It's because the stuff we make at home is just way better than what they make in the cinema. But they don't like it. They'll stop you at the door. But you're absolutely right. My wife walks in with a what do you call it? Those supermarket bags. Puts her jackets of inside over the top, sitting over the top of all of our popcorn. And when we get in there, we'll pull it all out.
Wow. So let's move on to our next envelope. Envelope number 5. Our questions are. Question number 1. Toilet paper in your house. Does it go over on the roll or under?
Oh, that old question. You know what? I don't know which way it should go now because I get told it goes one way. I have it the other way. These days, it's just whatever goes on the roll. That's what I take it. I don't care.
Yeah. My wife.
Just as long as it works.
Yeah. My wife wants it one way. Up here in my bathroom for the office, it's just sitting on the back of the toilet.
That solves the problem.
Yeah. Next question in here is beer or wine?
Oh, I was going to say I'm a beer person, but I don't mind a wine as well. I think my preference though is beer because I can polish off a whole bottle of wine, sometimes a bottle and a half in a session. It's the next day that it really counts. Beer, the next day I'm functional, I'm good for podcasts and whatever. Wine, I'm just a write-off. So I'm going to go for beer.
Yeah. So Lauren and I had this discussion when she was on, and she went to this place she found online and had a 6-pack of like craft beers sent to me, right? And I didn't know it was from her. It just came to my house as a delivery for me. And I'm like, didn't know. Finally, one day she messaged me, "Hey, did you get the beer?" And I'm like, "Oh, you're the one who sent that." Because she found it online and sent it to me. It was a company in California that she found that imports some of the stuff you guys have down under.
Oh, some of the Aussie. Oh, we have some fantastic craft beers here.
It's some. Trust me, it's some really good beer because my wife and I really enjoyed that. Yeah. The third question in here in envelope number 5 is Superman or Batman?
Superman or Batman? No, it's got to be Superman. I had flying dreams as a kid, and I still have flying dreams. So yeah, Superman because he's not going to fall out of the sky.
Yeah. Cool. So, okay. So Gail says, so you're a high-heeled, speed-hearing, podcast-listening Nik Cree. Things I didn't know about you.
Gail is my book editor.
I had to bring that up. I figured she was someone who knew you. So anyway.
Yeah.
Okay. Envelope number 7. Question number 1. Who's the greatest NFL football quarterback, Joe Montana or Tom Brady?
NFL, what the heck is that?
It's not the soccer ball that's round. It's an oblong ball.
An oblong ball. Oh, that's a bit like the league over here or Aussie rules rugby.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to go with Jonah Lomu. That wasn't the choice. That's the only one that I know. He's over here.
Yeah.
Throw that question out. Get me another one.
I know. All right. Next question on here. Which one are you afraid of most, snakes or spiders?
Ooh, I live in Queensland, and we've got the 10 deadliest snakes in the whole world up here.
Yeah.
And the snakes over here chase you. So, they don't stand still. They'll actually go you. But we've got deadly spiders up here as well, like redback spiders. So I've got to say I'm more afraid of spiders because they can really hurt. Snakes, I have been known to pick them up and get rid of them out of our chook houses. So yeah, spiders.
Yeah, it's snakes for me. I can't take snakes because they just freak me out. Yeah. So. Question number 3 in here. All right. When you're putting the papers together in your office, are you using stapler, or a paper clip?
Papers? Man, I'm digital. I've got rid of all that paper on my desk.
These are, I keep trying to come up with this or that funny questions to put in there. And I think a total of 9 total questionnaire sheets, and I switch in between envelopes, so I don't know what envelope I'm getting what time. So, but that was like we had to add some stuff in there, and that was one that we added this time. And most of the time, people come back and go, staples, man, what are staples? I use paper clips. And then there's the opposite. Paper clips. I don't use staples. I use paper clips. And it's an argument. That's why I pick these questions, because they're arguments.
And then you get people like me. It's like, what's paper?
Yeah. I still have the oldest app in the building.
Pen and paper.
I know. Pen and paper. Yeah, it's my great app. I take it to Starbucks sometimes, and I can outline a whole program or a whole newsletter on paper. And then I come home and type it up. Yeah. Anyway. So, well, Nick, it has been so much fun having you on the show, man. I'm just telling you, it's been a blast. One more time, I want you to repeat the website so people can actually come out and connect with you.
So, yeah, website, come along, have a look. It is smashgo.com, smashgo.com.
Cool. Well, Nick, I appreciate you taking time out of your schedule, coming by and sharing with my audience. And it's been great getting to know you live on camera. All right. It's a joy getting to meet you.
I've had a fantastic time. What a great way to start the day.
To you guys, our listeners today, I want to thank you guys for stopping by, and do me a favor. All right, go check out smashgo.com. Check out what Nick is doing over there in Australia. And if you haven't already, do me a favor and subscribe to our YouTube channel, as well as where you get your podcasts. I'm Tim Gillette, and I'll be back next week with another great show and interviewing another great guest. Have a great weekend, guys. Bye.